This year's Candid Candidates event is focused on the state legislative delegation from the Lewiston-Auburn area. We have candidates running for both houses of the Maine legislature here with us this evening, and we will be asking them about issues that YPlay has determined to be of importance to Androscoggin County voters, with particular emphasis on issues that affect young professionals. We have 19 candidates here with us this evening, and how the evening will go down is I'll introduce each one of them by name and give each candidate 1 minute to make a brief introductory statement about why they're running for office. In order to make best use of our time and to be fair to all participants, time will be kept by our lovely Genevieve Herring. So you will get 1 minute. At about 50 seconds, she will raise that red flag. That knows that your time is up, and then we will ask you, thank you, and we'll move on. Thereafter, we will have 45 minutes of question and answers. Each candidate will be asked 2 questions, one that is directed to all candidates and one that is drawn from the fishbowl. We did elect to use a fishbowl to make sure that there is all fairness within the questions that are driven towards each candidate. Once we make it through the planned questions, we will also open the floor to audience questions. If you are not comfortable speaking in front of the group, note cards have been provided at each table. Some of our YPlay members, if you could raise your hands, are available to pick up cards and bring them up so we can ask. For order, we will begin with the state senate races and then go numerically by district number 20, 21, and 22. We will then move through the House districts by numerical order 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. I can count. And for closing statements, we will just go where we are in the rotation once 6:30 rolls around. At 6:30, we will allow the candidates to make a 30-second closing statement. After that, candidates in the audience are free to stay until 7 p.m. to mingle and ask direct one-on-one questions. Candidates may distribute their literature and campaign signs at this time. We ask that you please turn your ringers off your cell phones and ask that you limit table discussion to ensure that other attendees are able to hear the candidates. If you are a social media fan, please feel free to share pictures and what you are hearing this evening using hashtag YPlayME. That's hashtag pound YPLAAME. Thank you, and let's begin. So first, I would like to introduce Eric Blakey. Eric?
All right, should I stay here? Well, hello. Let's see if I can get this all in 60 seconds. My name is Eric Brakey, and if you live in the towns of Auburn, New Gloucester, Poland, Minot, or Mechanic Falls, then I'm running to be your state senator. I live right in Auburn. My family goes back 5 generations in New Gloucester, and I work for a family business where we help companies get their energy costs under control. I'm very involved in the local community with organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Community Little Theater, and of course, YPlay. As far as some of the issues go, I have had the great pleasure of walking the district. I've already knocked on over 6,000 doors, talked to a lot of people, and 2 of the biggest issues I hear about are getting some common sense welfare reform and also making a much healthier job environment in our state so that our greatest export as a state is no longer our young people. That's going to mean lowering taxes, cutting red tape, and finding ways to bring down the cost of energy so that we can create jobs here in Maine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And next we have Mr. John Cleveland.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for providing us this opportunity to be here. I'm the current state senator in the Auburn and surrounding towns and running for re-election. I was born and brought up here. I've lived here my entire life. My grandparents were brought up here, immigrants of Canada as well. I'm married for 34 years. I have 2 adult sons, both who are young professionals as well. And I've had experience in the Senate for 10 years, 8 years back in the 1990s and 2 years starting in 2012. I've also had local experience. I've been a city councilor and the mayor of Auburn. I've helped lead the Twin City communities to greater prosperity. So I understand both needs from the local perspective and understand how to get things done in the state Senate. And also how to make sure that we only do good things for communities and not the bad things.
Thank you. Next we have Guy Desjardins.
Good evening. My name is Guy Desjardins. I'm currently your sheriff in Androscoggin County, and I have roughly 82 days before retirement. I'm married 43 years with my wife Chris. We live in Status. I was born and raised in Auburn. Again, I'm finishing 38 years in a law enforcement career, And I've also held local elected offices, 9 years as a Board of Selectmen in the town of Sabattis, 5 years on the school board, 4 years on the, completing my third year, on the Sabattis Water District. Retired military, 4 years United States Air Force, 18 years in the Army Reserves, retired as an E8 with 23 years of service. And I'm running, we've been knocking on a lot of doors as well, and I'm basically running on 3 major issues, and that's municipal revenue sharing, public school funding, and also the expansion of healthcare.
Thank you. Next, we have Garrett Mason.
Thank you for having us, and good evening, everyone. My name is Garrett Mason. I represent Senate District 17, which covers most of Androscoggin County. Me and Senator Craven needs to fight about that. I represent more geography, and she represents more people. I have served in the State Senate for the past 4 years. I'm running for my 3rd term under the new Senate District 22, which covers the eastern half of Androscoggin County and 2 towns in Kennebec County. Some of you I recognize here from my days back in the Lewiston Maniacs, when I was Public Relations Manager and also as Director of Administration, where I ran the day-to-day operations of the club. I have run for office for 2 reasons. One is I'm very tired of watching the people that are my age taking their families and going across the Kittery Bridge and never coming back for greener pastures and better opportunities in other places. I think that we have done a good job of starting to turn that around. In the past 4 years, we've created 20,000 private sector jobs in our economy, which I think is great. And also, I've only made one promise the whole time that I've been elected, and that is to make Augusta as inconsequential in your life as I possibly can make it, and that will be my goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Patricia, also known as Patty Gagne.
Thank you, Heidi. So I am Patty Gagne, running for State Senate, District 21, which is all of Lewiston, and this is the only Senate seat that's just one town in the entire state of Maine. I'm an all-state agent, so I'm in good hands. Currently, I serve on the Board of Appeals for Lewiston, and I also serve as the chair of the Androscoggin County Chamber of Commerce. I've served as a youth minister and lector for a dozen years with Prince of Peace Parish. My husband Ernie and I raised our 2 children here in Lewiston, Stephanie and Scott, and they both went through the Lewiston public school system from K through 12. Why am I running for state senate? I just wanted to be mayor of Lewiston. But people in our community had faith in me and confidence in me to run for state senate, so I thought that that would be a cool thing to do. And my husband and I are at a great stage in our life, so that works for me.
Thank you. Next, we have Nate Libby.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. It's a great privilege. My name is Nate Libby, and I'm running for State Senate District 21. And as Patty said, that's the city of Lewiston. I grew up in central Maine in a working class household. And when I was 18, I moved to Lewiston and fell in love with the community, decided to make it my home. After I graduated from Bates College, where I received a very generous needs-based scholarship. This community is a wonderful place to work and raise a family, and that's what I'm doing. And I've got a deep commitment to public service. I've served on the Lewiston City Council, going on almost 4 years now. And I'm also a representative to the Maine Legislature, representing a portion of Lewiston, which includes Bates College and St. Mary's Hospital. The reason I'm running for the State Senate, and it's been the reason I've been engaged in public service, is I want to make government work better for people. I'm not one for flashy campaign promises, but I do pledge to be a hard worker, a strong voice for reason and compromise, and someone anyone can call for assistance. So thank you very much.
Next, we have Luke Jensen.
Hi everybody, good to see you all tonight. My name is Luke Jensen. I'm running for the Maine House District 58, which geographically encompasses about the eastern portion of Lewiston. I'm running primarily because I actually want to see substantive welfare reform take place. Throughout my door knocking and talking to people in my district, that is clearly the #1 issue. It's time. It's been time to happen, and I want to see it happen. So it's one of the motivating factors for me to run. Some background on me: born and raised here in Lewiston. I'm of Franco descent, so it's great to be in this place of all places in town. Being a young professional myself, I really do appreciate the Y Play putting on this event. I know a lot of the struggles that young people face. massive amounts of student debt, the struggle of trying to get a good job and not having the job experience despite having the education. So it can kind of be a vicious cycle of how am I going to get that experience to get the good job that will pay the bills if I don't, if I'm only a young age. And so that's an issue that a lot of young people face that I would kind of bring to the table. Overall, I think that a lot of young people are leaving the state because there's been a lack of young people, a lack of youth representation in the state policy process, and that's something that I'd like to change.
Thank you. Next, we have Michael LaJoy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Michael LaJoy. I was born in Lewiston many years ago. I have a little over 31 years in Lewiston Fire Department. The last 11 years I was fire chief. I became interested in the State House because of advocating for public safety. I was asked at that time if I was interested to run, and I did. So in 2006, I've been there since then. So this is my 4th term that I'm going for. Some of the major issues that I look at are healthcare for all of us, but especially for our elderly. And knocking on doors, I found that senior citizens are somewhat worried about their future. And you know something, that mimics the younger individuals or younger ages that are worried about their future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Margaret Peggy Rotundo.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming tonight. For many years, I have provided strong, effective, positive leadership for this community in the State House, and I'm running again because I'm eager to continue to provide positive and effective leadership. As the chair of the Appropriations Committee, the State Budget Committee, I am very proud of the fact that I have led in the negotiations that have brought Republicans and Democrats together to vote out unanimous bipartisan budgets year after year after year in the toughest of economic times. And we've been able to keep state government open and continue to keep our promises to local communities as a result of our hard work. It's this interest in working together, it's my proven track record in being able to bring people together to find common ground that motivates me to continue to do this work in Augusta. I'm very proud of the fact that we've been able to bring money back to the Franco Center, tax credits for our mills, Realize Maine that you all, as Whiteplate, have benefited from. The list goes on and on, the LA College addition.
Thank you.
So, thank you all for being here, and I look forward to continuing to serve this wonderful community and working families here.
Now we have Leslie Dubois.
Thank you. As you said, I'm Leslie Dubois. I've lived in many states. I have roots in Aroostook County, but it's here in Lewiston, where I've lived for 20 years, that I actually found home. I've been serving the citizens of Lewiston as Ward 1 City Councilor. I enjoy that work. I listen, I ask questions, and I use my common sense to resolve and make decisions. I am running for House District 60, and why? Because it's my time. Seriously. I've been slowly, gradually looking at the country and the government, and I didn't like what I was seeing. The more I heard, the more I seen, the more frustrated I became. So I knew I needed to do something, but what was it? I finally became involved in the government. I actually progressed through the years, and I was actually asked to be city councilor, so I did. I was asked to run for the House of Representatives, so that's why I'm here.
Thank you. Next we have Jared Golden.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Jared Golden, and I'm the Democratic candidate for Lewiston's District 60. I joined the U.S. Marines in 2002 because I felt the call to serve our country. And in the Marines, I fought in Afghanistan and in Iraq. These combat experiences taught me the importance of selfless, dedicated, and quality leadership. I know that Lewiston needs dedicated, selfless leaders representing it in Augusta, and I'm confident that I have the leadership qualities necessary to get the job done for the people of Lewiston. Lewiston. When I came home to Lewiston, I went through the sometimes difficult transition from military service to civilian life. I worked 2, sometimes 3 low-income jobs just to make ends meet. And it was my Veterans Affairs education benefits that enabled me to afford and complete a degree from Bates College. Getting a college education was a game changer for me. Since I graduated from Bates, I've worked for a private logistics company overseas, for one of Maine's United States Senators, and I've worked as a legislative aide in Augusta. I've been fortunate to have these opportunities, but I also understand the struggles that many Mainers face. Creating jobs and educational opportunities will be my top priorities in the legislature.
Thank you. Next, we have Robert Bob Reed.
Good evening, and thank you for being here. My name is Bob Reed. I am a lifelong resident of the area. I grew up in Auburn, went to Hudson College in Vancouver, now Hudson University. I've lived in Lewiston for over 30 years now and have been a past city councilor and currently serve on the finance committee. My wife and I have raised 3 sons in the public school system and love them to death. As far as why I'm running, I'll make it quick. I know people are going on. I believe we needed a fiscally conservative candidate in this district, and due to a unique set of circumstances, the candidate for the Republican Party dropped out at the last minute. I'm the only person on this stage who is a write-in candidate certified by the state to do so, because I truly felt I needed to represent the people of this district in Augusta at this time. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mark Kayer.
Good evening. I'm running for House District 61. Currently, I'm Lewiston City Councilor, and I've served 3 terms as a City Councilor, and I'm also the Council President. In my career, I spent 20 years in law enforcement, and I always felt it was important to give back to my community, and that's why I've always tried to serve on different boards and committees. The reason why I'm running is because I'm just so convinced that lobbyists and special interests have way too much control in Augusta. I think there's a long history of a failure to advocate for property taxpayers. I think as a councilor, I've advocated for the property taxpayers for the past 5 years, and I hope to do that in Augusta. I'm convinced that the next governor needs to take legislative leadership, lock them in a room, and they need to deal with several issues all at once. Right now, we have knee-jerk reactions to education, healthcare, energy, economic development. The governor needs to lock leadership in a room. We need to deal with all the main topics, and then when that's complete, we need to real tax reform to pay for it. The same thing that's going on now as it has been for the past several years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Heidi Brooks.
Hi, yes, my name is Heidi Brooks. I'm running for House District 61, which is part of Lewiston, which includes where we are now. My major push to run for office had to do with going up to Augusta, advocating for people that needed health care, including myself. And I saw what a difference it made to be in Augusta, and the difference that every legislator made. And one of my priorities going to Augusta would be to have health care for 70,000 people that was denied last time around, and hopefully universal care going forward.
Thank you. Next, Wayne Wertz.
Thank you very much. My name is Wayne Wertz. I'm just now finishing my first term in the legislature. I had the honor to serve on the Transportation Committee. The district I'm running for now has changed a little. It's totally in Auburn at this point. It used to be parts of Lewiston and Auburn, but it's all Auburn at this point. I spent most of my career in public safety. I was in the Auburn Fire Department for 33 years. The last 9 of those years I was its fire chief. I've also been a small business owner, so I understand those capabilities. I am also someone, I don't care what your affiliation is. I don't care what letter is behind your name. There is no one who has the market on good ideas, and we've got to come out of the silos. We've got to start communicating to get those ideas. And I want to bring my municipal experience, my small business experience, and that kind of forward thinking of how to get good ideas back to Augusta, continue to work on transportation, and I'm also hoping to get assigned to the Commission on Aging. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Gina Malarno.
Close. I'm Gina Melarano, and I'm running in House District 62, which is, all of it is in Auburn, and it's sort of a strip that goes alongside the river, and it's the most densely populated part of Auburn. I grew up in Auburn. I graduated from EL and USM. This is my first campaign, so it's been sort of an experience. I am mostly inspired to run for the legislature because of my experiences as a working person, really. I've just seen sort of a lot of people who are paid extremely low wages for the services and labor that they provide to their employers and have to as well struggle for health care. Wow, that was quick. Okay. But yeah, thanks for listening. Again, Gina Melrano.
Thank you. Bruce Bickford?
Thank you, and thank you for having us here at the Franco Center. My name is Bruce Bickford. I grew up in Auburn. I live within 500 yards of the house I grew up in. I've been married for 29 years. I have 4 adult children. 3 went through the Auburn schools, 1 went through the New Gloucester school. We can shoot the buzzwords around all day long: education, welfare, healthcare, jobs, business, and that's just what they are, as buzzwords. In 2005, after I worked for small business for a number of years, won't say how many, I decided it was time to give back. And it was the right time, because it was when Auburn was facing the high property tax crisis, and we were having the meetings in New Auburn, and I decided to give back. I'd run for city council. I won my seat on city council, worked across the aisle with Eric Sampson and worked on issues, looked towards Augusta to see what the issues were there, and it was the same old wreck. You had Republicans against Democrats and Democrats against Republicans, and I went in and said, guys, take the name badge off when you get to the door, do the people's work, and go home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Betty Ann Sheets.
Hi, my name is Betty Ann Sheets. I'm a resident of Auburn. I'll be serving Auburn and Minot if I'm elected to House District 64. My bio is online, so I don't want to go into married to George and have 2 children. But I did graduate from the United States Military Academy at West Point and got to serve my country, and I'd like to continue to serve as a representative in the legislature. As I have been walking around Auburn and Minot, I have seen the most incredible views and met the most wonderful people and heard some wonderful stories. I've also lost 10 pounds. But I have gained insight and perspective. And I do hear concerns about welfare, but it's not that people don't want welfare. They want welfare reform so that people have what they need, that the people that need most are protected. They want access to affordable health care. They want people to be treated with respect regardless of the circumstances of their lives. They don't want to be bashing the poor because they're poor and making them the scapegoat for our problems. They want good quality education, and they want to stop scapegoating the teachers for an economic problem that they did not cause. So I'd like to go up there, and I want to say one last thing. On my military dog tags, it says my blood type, and it says my religious denomination. It does not say Republican or Democrat. I want to serve Maine.
Thank you. And finally, we have David Sawicki.
Good evening, Dave Sawicki. I grew up in Norway, Maine. Went to all years of school from K through 12 at Oxford Hills High School. And like many kids, I went out of state for college, came back, wanted to move back to Maine, and found a lack of jobs. I'm not a politician. I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. And I may speak more bluntly than others, so please forgive me. But the reason why I'm running is because of what I see government doing to this state and to this country. Big government does not work. Big government stifles job creation. The best social program is a job. That was President Ronald Reagan. It was right then, it's right now. My intention for running for state government is to bring that message to Augusta. I do not believe any government, state, federal, local, is intended to be a taxpayer-funded charity. We have charities that work wonderfully well. We need to move back towards a private sector-focused economy. Free market economy. Government cannot be all things to all people. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll be moving into the question and answers section. You will each be given one question that will be asked of all, and then directly following we'll draw your fishbowl. So you'll get 2 questions back to back, okay? Eric, what is the single most important issue facing Maine, and what is your plan for dealing with it? You have 1 minute.
All right, well, I'll say the single most important issue from the people I've talked to as I've gone door to door is welfare reform. It's the number one issue I hear of the 6,000 doors I've already knocked on. It's the number one issue that comes up again and again and again. And people are frustrated, and I think they have a right to be frustrated. You know, the system that we have isn't working. We need to find some common sense solutions. We need to make sure that our welfare system is working for the people it's intended for, the people who are really in need of help, and do a much better job than we have been historically in the state of policing the abuse that goes on. I'll give you an example. I have a close friend. They have an adult daughter who's severely mentally disabled and has been on a wait list for services for years. Meanwhile, at the same time, we found millions of dollars in welfare dollars that are being spent out of state, being spent on things like alcohol and cigarettes. We need to do a better job of policing the abuse that's going on and prioritizing the limited resources we have to the people who are really in need of help, who these programs are intended for. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, your chosen question. When it comes to matters of politics, at times, some of the most insightful feedback you can get are within the minds of the silent. How do you proactively plan to seek out input from those in your district?
I think that's a great question. Well, first of all, I'll say, like I mentioned, like I've already been doing. I've knocked on over 6,000 doors. I'm going directly to people. I'm asking them for their input and what their concerns are. Something in addition to that, I would like to, and this is something I've gotten feedback, as I've sat down and had meetings with our city councilors, our mayor, our school committee members, I know something that they would like to see is more interaction between the Auburn delegation and the local elected officials, because they're people on the ground who are dealing with some of the local problems we see on a daily basis. Now, I'm going to make every effort to have a proactive relationship with our local elected officials. I'm going to make sure that every couple of months there are open meetings where anyone who would like to see me share their concerns, I'm accessible for them. And I'm going to just continue being available to anyone who would like to share their input. Thank you very much.
Thank you.